Hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good, thanks, and you?
I'm great. How are you doing, Anthony? You can hear me? You know, Anthony, before I met you, you know how we just saw each other on the internet, like for the Zooms, right? And I saw that one picture of you with your arms like this. I'm like, man, he's a big guy. And then when I ran into you and I'm like, oh my God, I'm bigger than he is. And your voice too, you sound like you're a big guy.
And my beard used to be like that.
Yeah, but you're so sweet. You're just a sweet guy. I just wanted to let you know that's what I see. Every time I see that picture come up like this, I'm like, wow, all those tattoos. Oh, I'm bad.
That's a sexy one.
That's a sexy one.
It's all about the angles and zooming.
Yeah, I'm afraid I don't need any of this done, you know. Like I just need to do the face somehow. Hello, Susanna. See what happens when you come early? You get to listen to the crazy stuff.
I know I can't pronounce it. Okay.
It's like,
Okay.
did I interrupt something? No, you're good. You're really good. Okay, there's only like 4 of us here. They don't want to do their homework, huh? Well, it's only 12:29, so I guess I'm kind of early considering for them. Oh, so those test questions weren't that hard, were they?
No, just a lot, but they're not hard.
Yeah, and because I'm kind of located back here, I can't really move out to the floor. They had to give me a test that that they have already in the book, which was 40 questions, because normally I would only give you like about 25 for that chapter. Yeah.
You don't create them, they come out of the book?
No, I don't use those. I use the ones that pertain to the information that we need.
Oh,
Okay, so I give you 25 of those right off the bat, because you'll get them inside the classroom too. Once you're, you know, when you went through the freshman part of it, you had different testing, remember, for those chapters? Yeah, and so that's basically what happens to them when they're first going through them. And then when you go through pivot point 2 or pivot point 3, they have different like key terms and stuff like that they go through, because it goes through the books. You know, those individual books?
Oh, is it gonna go once we get
Oh yeah,
off
because
the floor, we go through those?
yeah, because what I'm doing is your theory, okay? And then there's your classroom books. Does that make sense?
When we're in the classroom, we're doing the Salon fundamentals, but when we start hitting, no.
I do Salon fundamentals. I'm doing Salon fundamentals with you. When you're in the classroom, you're going to take those individual books, you know, like the hair cutting book and the hair coloring book.
Oh, because they go over the same slides.
They told you
They
what?
go over the same slides in the classroom.
There should be like different ones pertaining to that book, because there's a couple of tests that are they have pivot point terminology. Let's put it that way. And the stuff that I go over is state board stuff. Does that make sense? Because it's your textbook for the program, okay? But when you go through the separate books or the separate, you know, I don't know if it's different. I do know you have like a hair cutting book, right? And you have, or a hair cutting chapter. You have a hair coloring chapter, a texture chapter. What else? Relaxers, all of that it's broken down. And then they have like little quizzes within that, right?
But they don't go through those books. That's what I'm telling you. They go through, so you do the full course, 1 through 15.
Right.
But what they do is
right.
they do those courses from that book. So when it comes to nails or it comes to color or it comes to whatever, they use that same book. They only do that. So basically, they do the theory part in the class. Like, yeah.
Huh. Okay.
We have never used those other books.
I go
so
what are you using in the classroom?
So that's the thing, they're using,
Yeah.
so they're on whatever chapter they're on. So say they're gonna be on nails next week. When we come back, they're gonna be on nails, but they'll do the nails
Right.
that's in the fundamental. She'll go over that.
Oh, okay. Because that covers the basics that you need. That really does.
So for me,
For, like,
I
statements.
use the other books now that I know that they show you how. I go
They're
in,
advanced.
yeah, I
they're
go in
advanced parts,
because when I feel they're rushing through it, that gives me time to go in and fine tune it.
Good. Okay, because that's what it is for. Okay, it goes into depth a little bit more and gives you a little bit more information if you want to go into depth. But you have to remember when you take your state exam, your written test is going to be at what they call freshman level, which means the Salon fundamental books, knowing what you know, sanitation, you know, you have to sanitize your hands before you do something, you set up all your implements, everything's clean, you know what I mean? It goes to the same basic tools. So they want you, and I say this all the time, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I say that most students that have finished the first 10 weeks of their program are better prepared to take the practical part of their exam than somebody that's been through the 1,600-hour program. And I'm going to tell you why I think that. It's because when you're first learning, everybody makes sure they don't miss a step, right? They're like, okay, she said I do this, and I do this before I move on to the next part, right? But when you get onto the floor, you learn different tricks on how to work in the field. And that's what we're supposed to show you. You don't want to be able to go out into the field and go, nobody ever taught me that. Do you see what I'm saying? So there are shortcuts to get around things to make your job easier. However, you still have to know your basics and where it came from. And so that's what your freshman training is all about, that first 10 to 15 weeks, okay? And so that's what they mean by you're ready and prepared at that 15 week, because you don't start double guessing or triple guessing yourself, because you'll sit there and go, did she say this? What does it mean if, well, what if, you know, and you start thinking over and over again, you're like, stop confusing yourself. What was the first thing that came to your head? There's a reason why you thought that first, okay? Because that's exactly what it is. All right, so I just want you to know that they're testing you at freshman level, not, you know, it's not like, not technique, okay? Everything has to do with, did you do step 1, step 2, step 3, okay? That's how they look at it. You do each practical operation and say yes or no. Did she do it or did she not? That's it. There's no, like, before it used to be, well, she did half of it, I'm going to give her a couple points for this, I'm going to get, it doesn't work like that anymore. Now it's just yes or no, okay? And they go down the list. So as long as you do all the steps, and I've told every one of you guys, when you go to board, I don't care if you don't know what you're doing, you act like you know what you're doing. You look them straight in the face and you can make a mistake, and because you're so confident in yourself, they don't even think twice about it. But the minute you go, oh, you know, that, like this, they're going to come right, stand right next to you and go, let's see, where are you messing up? You know, and that makes you even more nervous. Or you're the person that drops everything, because granted, there will be one person in every exam room that drops everything on the floor and makes you even look bad. You're like, oh my God, would you just pick it up? Pick it up. Because if she drops something, that person that drops everything over in your area, and she doesn't pick it up, you better pick it up, because it's in your area. It doesn't matter whether she dropped it, okay? It's in your area, you pick it up, okay? So I'm just gonna let you know that you have to make sure that your area, you're aware of what's going on in your area, okay? But most people don't pass, don't fail the practical. It's pretty easy. It's just a little bit of everything that you do, literally. You're gonna do like one little section, and you're gonna do a color application, and you're gonna do 5 little panels for a hair highlight, okay, with foil. The only thing that they ask you to do is a haircut, which is full, that's it. And you don't even have to finish the haircut as long as you go through the steps. And the steps mean that you have to break it down and do it in sections. You can't just go, oh, I already know what I'm doing, and the hair is laying down. You have to put it in sections, you cut it in sections, put it back up, and you move to the next section. And I always tell everyone, finish the back of your haircut. Don't try and do the front first, because if you don't, the rest of your test is going to be miserable. You are going to be doing a perm right after that haircut, and they're going to be wrapping from here down. And if you don't have that back straight, what's going to happen? I know you've had a doll that's been short, long, and try to wrap something like that. That's exactly what happened. So you make sure you get the back of that haircut. It's horrible, huh?
Yeah, it's a mess.
It really is horrible. Okay, let me get everyone in here, okay? You get me talking about this, I could talk forever, okay? I used to do the state board class, so I'm like, okay, let's get this all done. All right, Oh, Max, I'm seeing you early.
There's only 9 of us.
Huh?
There's only 9 of us.
I know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nobody's back from spring break.
I know, right? They're all just taking these vacations. Okay, excuse me, just a minute. Okay, here we go. All right, so I have Venetia, Anthony, Jocelyn, there you are, Susanna, Max, Abby, Jasmine H, Max and Victoria. Is that right? Who's Victoria? Oh, where'd that go? But there she is. I'm like, where is she? She's like, I'm right here. All right, so we're going to be working on chapter 7, right? Trichology. This is your hair chapter. Okay. So let me see if I can bring this up before we have any issues with it, okay? I'll bring up our chapter here. And if you have it at home, you won't need my slides, but I'm going to try and get the slides back up. If not, we'll be going, this is what you put into the next part of your book or your study guide, okay? They are giving you handouts, right? Some of you? No? Yeah? Okay. Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So I'm just waiting for this page to load. Once this page finished loading, and then I can actually, you can watch me go through the rest of it, but you do. Okay. All right, here we go. You know, it's kind of strange. I finally got back 2 of my students that have been out of school since March of last year. Can you imagine? That would be hard.
How does that work? They just took a year vacation?
Because of COVID, they were like, could have taken a leave for that long, but after the year and month, a couple months, what it's March now, right? April. It's been over a year, almost a little bit over a year. So they're asking everyone to return. If you don't return, then we'll have to use you as a drop. And I have so many that were like, my course is 600 hours and they were like at 450 to, so close. It's like, come back and finish it. You can do it in a month and a half and get it out of the way. It's like, don't drop it for that. You know what I mean? That's silly.
Yeah.
Even if you, this is what I tell them, even if you decide that this isn't what you want to do anymore, okay, at least go and get your license, because at least you won't be flipping burgers. That's how I have to look at it, right? You'll be doing something other than that, because you can make money. And if nothing else, like you can too, but my girls, they can do waxing, and waxing is very quick, easy money. Okay. Think about what it costs you to get an eyebrow arch, right? Nowadays, it's like $15 to $20, right? And you can do that, what? Most people, I'm going to say, and I tell those girls all the time, 90% of your clientele is going to already messed up their own eyebrows and you're just cleaning it up, okay? So it may take you like 5 minutes, 10 minutes at the most. So if you made that $20 every 10 minutes, how much are you making? Make pretty good money as far as I'm concerned, right? It's dang good money. Help pay for your education. And there are things that you can do like on the side that are not on the board, like spray tanning. I had one girl, she just actually rented a hotel room on the weekend, okay, because she didn't want to mess up her own house, because you got to put like sheets on the walls so that the overspray doesn't get on anything else. But they were doing 8 girls and it paid for their machine, which was like $500 to $800 for the machine. So then they started just making cash. It was already paid for the equipment now, and now I'm just putting it in my pocket. So that's quick money, and you don't have to have a license to do spray tan.
Well, you teach makeup too, don't you?
Excuse me?
You teach makeup too, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
That's
It-
what I want to learn.
but what you want to learn is probably like theatrical stuff, right?
No, well, it is, and I'll get there, but I still would like to learn how to do overall makeup. I don't want to
Okay.
limit myself to just, I'd like to be able to do anything from daytime, nighttime, bridal, avant-garde, theatrical. It doesn't matter. Makeup is where I originally would like to be.
Yeah. And that's
I'm taking cosmetology because I was told that I was going to get the basics of makeup, and then all the other stuff for me was just an extra skill that I could use. But I didn't even get that. I didn't even get the basics.
they didn't go through the makeup with you?
It was like, here's a piece of paper, draw on it.
Okay.
So it made me a
So-
little upset because that's what I'm here for specifically.
Right.
But it's just basic. I would like to have, I don't know what brushes to use or blending, none of that.
Okay, so here's the deal. The next time it comes around in here, because we're already halfway through this chapter again, right? So we'll spend a little bit more time on that because we went through the skin twice with you, right? We went through all the layers of the skin twice. I know because I taught the first half of it, and this is the second time that we're going through that book, right? So I'll pay more attention to the makeup part of it and break it down. I've always told the girls that you have to look, if you don't know how to do makeup at all, think of it as a mathematical equation. I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. You break it down first on how you want to fix the problem, okay? So her nose is too long, her nose is too short, her lips are too big, whatever, okay? You break it down that way, mathematically, okay? Then you look at, is she a warm or a cool tone by their skin tones, okay? Then it's basically, what are they going to be wearing for that day? Is it, a special occasion, whatever it's going to be, all right? And at that point, I tell the girls, because of that mathematical equation, you're going to know where to put makeup. Just think of it in terms of gray, shades of gray. That's all I want you to do. Because not until we get to the warms and cooler, you're going to be adding colors. And so you always want to make sure you have 3 different palettes: a warm palette, a cool palette, and a neutral. Neutral can work with either one of those. However, most women's problem is that they don't know the difference between a cool and a warm, and they'll mix them together. They'll put this nice little peach on their cheeks and they got pink lipstick on. So it throws the whole thing off, okay? So you have to literally separate those palettes because most people go, what have you got? Okay, they want to see what you got, and then they tell you, go ahead and do what you want. And when you do what you want, they don't like what you want. They're gonna, I wouldn't wear that color. Let me see that color right there. So you only want to show them what's going to look good on them. Don't show them what's going to look bad on them, or let them see the whole palette. You see what I'm saying? Because then they start putting it together themselves, and then they look like what they did when they came in, usually. It's real hard to change a woman when they've got their heads, even though they say, do what you want, because it happens back here all the time. The client goes, you're the expert, you decide. And so when the girls do that, they're like, I don't really wear makeup like that. Like, okay. So the girl works really hard. But if you break it down into those categories, it makes it a little less intimidating. Does that make sense? So I always play this game called less than and more than. Remember those little brackets like this when you were in school?
Yeah.
Less than this much and more than that. Okay, so it's either in the middle where it's supposed to be, okay, or it's less than that, or it's more than that, right? You got 3 options. So let's just use your eyes, okay? You always use the person's eyes as the tool to measure the entire face. So I can't use my eyes to measure your face, and you can't do your eyes on my face. However, we're going to start with one eye between her eyes, right? So those 2 right here, if there is one eye, then it is normal. If it is not, it's either going to be close set or it's going to be far set, right? Less than, more than. Okay. So if it's going to be close set, I need to open that up. So it's not so close set, correct? Light color opens, dark color brings it in. So you start to see how this math kind of works together. When I break it down that way, they're like, well, that's so easy. And I'm like, yeah, I know. But I'm not real fancy with doing all the brushes and, getting all that blending in there, but I do know how to actually break it down for you to understand and to play. Okay. So I will work a little bit harder on that makeup the next time it comes around. Okay. On chapter 15. All right. Okay. So let's break this down here and open it up. Okay. Because since no one else came back into the class, right? Okay. You guys don't have slides on here, do you, anymore?
We never had them.
You never had them?
No.
That's strange.
I keep telling them I think it's a
Okay.
teacher thing, but
Because, yeah, mine have slides, but I also have slides to give my lecture, right? It's supposed to be different, but, okay, can you see my screen right now
yeah.
at all? Okay,
Yeah, we
so we're
can.
gonna hit the slide. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, it's gonna come up. Or it's going to download for us. You should be on page 189 in your study guide if you have a book or a handout. Okay, and it should be 7.1 on hair theory. How you doing? Everyone okay? You just look a little lost there. Victoria, you okay? Like, yes. Okay, just waiting for this to open up, which should be shortly after it stops spinning. Here it comes. The trichology is that first part in there, okay? That's going to be the study of hair. Okay, so you can write that in there, the study of hair for trichology. I'll wait till the slide comes up. Like, this is taking forever. Okay, well, I'm waiting for that to come up. You have the hair bulb formation, correct? That's the next thing in there. All right. So what I want you to write in that area is this, okay? The hair follicle forms a cluster, okay? The hair follicle forms a cluster of cells in the upper layer of skin. Okay, well, it downloads this thing. So the hair follicle forms a cluster of cells in the upper layer of the skin. All right. What they're going to be asking you on test questions and for board is this. There are two primary parts of that hair. Okay, there's the hair root, okay, and the hair fiber. The hair fiber can sometimes be called hair strand. Okay, just so that you know. The root is the portion that's below the skin, obviously, right? And the hair fiber is the portion that extends above the skin. That's the only difference. So there's two parts of the hair. Wait for this to come up. Okay, the hair root, which is the portion of hair, it's inside the follicle. I'm gonna give you a little illustration of that. Okay, let's see if you can see this. Okay, this is the top layer of your skin, that little line that goes across, okay? That little hole right there, that little dip, that's your follicle. Right there on the side of it is what your sebaceous gland does. It secretes an oil down inside of that follicle, so it lubricates the hair, so it makes its way up to the surface of the skin without getting embedded, okay? Or causing an ingrown hair. All right, so your follicle, you'll hear this over and over from me a lot, okay? Hair comes from a follicle, sweat comes from a pore, okay? Know the difference because they are completely different and they're right next to each other. So I'm going to show you where your follicle is, that little right here, okay? And your sweat gland is a coil that goes up to the surface of the skin and it sprays out a mist, okay? That's known as your acid mantle. All right, it protects the outside from staying outside and the inside staying inside without bacteria growing on, okay? It does protect you. And when you strip that acid mantle, then your skin gets dermatitis, it can get all kinds of like skin disorders. And I don't know what's going on with this thing. So I'm better off just going through my lecture with you. Okay, sorry, because it's just not pulling itself together there. Okay, so we do have the two primary parts of the hair, right? Everyone's gotten that? Okay, then it says the 3 shapes of the follicle, right? So the first one is round, okay? And it looks like this, okay? It's a round follicle, right? The second one is oval, okay? And then the third one is elliptical. And I'm actually going to show you what that looks like. One looks like this, one looks like this, and then one looks like that. So you have a round one on the top, you have an oval below, and you have elliptical right below that, which is a little flatter than the oval. Okay, that's what the appearance of it looks like. Hi, Shakur. Okay. And hold on. All right, there we go. What's up, Athena? We're on chapter 7. Okay, 7.1.
Okay.
Our slides weren't working, so I'm just going through the study guide of your handout. So we're down to the bottom, to the next area where it says hair growth, and then it says papilla, correct? All right. The papilla is filled with capillaries that supply blood and nourishment to the cells around it. So basically the papilla feeds into, to the hair, and that's where the hair grows from, okay? It grows from that papilla. It's giving it its nourishment, its food to grow. Okay, then there are like 3 major layers. Now this is very important because you're going to need this for state board. You have to know these. There are 3 layers of the hair shaft, right? Okay, the inside is known as the medulla, which is the general or the central core of the hair shaft. I was told it was like the garbage can because everything that's junk is filled in there because not everyone has a medulla, okay? The second layer is the cortex, okay? And it consists of unique protein structures. When we do hair color, when we do anything chemically to the hair, it goes down to the cortex, okay? Also, melanin is in the cortex. So you know how we always say everything's in the dermis? It's alive, right? Everything's feeding to it. Well, when you're talking about hair, everything's in the cortex. So just remember that. Everything's in the cortex. All right, now the cuticle is the outer covering of that hair shaft. And that's going to determine whether our hair is either like frizzy or it's going to be soft, okay? Because what it looks like is like little Christmas trees on one strand of hair. So when it's frizzy, those little leaves on the Christmas tree are sticking straight out. But when you take a flat iron to it, you flatten those fibers on the outside, and then it looks like it's real healthy, and the light reflects off the hair, and that's how it looks shiny and healthy. But they have to be closed, okay? So a lot of times when we're doing hair coloring, we open up that cuticle, but we also say use acid rinses, things to close down that cuticle to keep the hair in good shape, right? We just talked about that in chemistry, all right? So you have the medulla, okay, which is the central core, okay, of the hair shaft, and it's not in everyone's hair. Like sometimes in fine hair, it's not there, okay? They just don't have one. So the middle is the cortex, and then the outer layer is the cuticle, okay? So then we get to keratinization, okay? And this is the process where the cells will change their shape, dry. Okay, once these cells have been keratinized, they form the hair fiber or the hair strand, and they're no longer alive. So basically, once they come out of the hair, or out of the scalp, they're not alive. It's dead. It's alive underneath the scalp, but it's not alive once it comes out of the scalp. I always kind of giggle because people always say when they've got a hanger, oh, my hair hurts. Well, we all know that the hair doesn't hurt. Okay, it's your little scalp. All right, so your keratinization is basically a process, okay? When the hair dries out, right? They change their shape, all right? And they form what's known as that keratin protein, okay? Hair, skin, and nails is all made out of that protein. It's just a different soft keratin or hard keratin, okay? Your hair and your skin would be like soft keratin and your nails would be like hard keratin. Okay, there's 3 stages of growth. Okay, it goes in what they say first, then, and finally, but it's anagen, catagen, and telogen. So I'm going to break it down, but I'm going to give you some examples to actually understand this part. So under first, I want you to write anagen, ANAGEN. Its common name is the actively growing stage. Okay. And its characteristics, it's attached to the root sheath. Basically, it's attached at the root. Okay, that's what that means. So you should have anagen, actively growing, and attached at the root. Okay. That second stage is going to be catagen, CATAGEN. And its common name is the transitional phase. Okay, it's basically going to be the shortest phase of all of them. Okay, this is where, and we're going to put characteristic, cell division stops, it just stops growing. Okay, kind of sits in what's known as a dormant stage. Okay, and then finally, you're going to put telogen, TELOGEN. Its common name, resting phase. And its characteristic, it has no attached root sheath. So this one has no root attached to it. So if you look at a hairbrush, okay, and you see hair that's fallen out of your head, okay, it will not have that little bulb attached at the end of it. As opposed to if I pulled one hair out from my scalp, it might have that little bulb on the end of it, right? Because I removed it by the root. So your hair grows in these stages. When it gets to that telogen stage, it doesn't have anything attached to it. It just falls out naturally because another hair is coming in right behind it and it pushes it out. Okay, now why is this so important? When we're talking about waxing, think of it this way. The only hair that's being removed when you wax somebody is the hair in the anagen stages, okay? When you remove the hair by the root, whether it's waxing, tweezing, threading, okay? You wake up that second stage. That stage is supposed to be sitting there doing nothing. It's kind of in a dormant stage, calm, relaxed, because it's not time for it to grow. But because you woke it up by pulling something from the root, everybody around it is going, okay, wake up, everybody go, start growing. So a client that maybe have been waxed on their legs, a couple of days later might have little nubs in there and thinking you just didn't wax all of those hairs. So what I tell the girls is that when you do a hair removal with waxing the very first time, the client needs to be seen every 2 weeks for the first 6 weeks, okay? And you need to tell her that, because if you don't explain it to her, she's going to think you were a bad waxer. Not just going to come back, not going to say anything, okay? But every time I tell a client this story, they're like, no one ever told me that. If I'd known that, I would have been back, okay? Because I just thought she was a lousy waxer. And I go, it's not true. But if they shave in between that 2 week period, you have to start the whole cycle over again, because what we're trying to do is to get all 3 of these stages of hair growth to grow at the same time. The only way to do that is to wax it every 2 weeks to catch those ones that were in that transitional phase, laying dormant, doing nothing. Okay, now they've been told to wake up and start growing, so we need to re-wax them. And so then the next phase comes up, and we're bringing those hairs up to do the same thing. After the 6 week period, then they can come in once a month. And you have hair growing at the same stage all the time. Does that make sense to you guys? You know, we're just talking about legs right now, okay? Because eyebrows grow at a different stage, you know, hair on your arm grows at a different stage, underarm grows at a different stage. So I'm just saying, I'm giving an example for leg waxing in case that's what you want to do later on, okay? Because if you don't explain things to your client, then she's not going to be your client. She's just going to go see somebody else. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So they figure that under the anagen stage, you're going to put in there, that's 2 to 6 years, the growing phase. Okay. The catagen stage is like a few weeks. Okay. And then the telogen stage, it runs about 100 days. Okay. So I'm just giving you a period of time how that hair grows. Okay. Now, some hair follicles will have more than one hair in there, okay? And they'll be at different stages also. They're not all growing at the same stage of growth just because they're in the same follicle. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah.
I know you've seen it when you tweezed an area and then you're like, where did that hair come from? Or where did this one get an embedded hair when I just tweezed that hair? That's usually because there's 2 or more hair follicles in there, Okay. All right. Ready to turn the page? Did I go too fast for you guys? I love talking about this stuff. All right, we're on page 190 now. All right, and it says hair structure and behavior. My internet's getting unstable here, hang on. Okay, hair structure and behavior. There are factors that affect the behavior of hair. Okay, we're gonna go through them. So the very first one is heredity. Okay, we all know that heredity plays a big part in how our hair behaves, right? These are the genes that you get from your parents. Okay. The second one's going to be the environment. Air, moisture, they'll all sometimes alter the bonds. Where it's really humid, if you've got very curly hair, it ends up being even curlier, right? You can come in there all straight, but now it's humid and your hair gets all kinky curly afterwards. So you know what that means. And then the third one's going to be products or appliances. So this could be shampoos, conditioners, curling irons, flat irons. So that third one would be products and appliances. Okay. So heredity, environment, and then products and appliances. Are we all good? Yeah? Okay. Then we get to what's known as the cuticle cortex ratio. Okay. And this means that the cuticle is hard, like the resistant layer. It's a protein. It's compared with like a soft elastic quality. Like the cortex inside is very soft, but the cuticle on the outside is very hard. Okay, to protect that cortex. All right, so I just want you to put in there the cuticle is hard and resistant. It's a layer of protein that's compared with the soft cortex. Anybody need that repeated? Yes, okay. So you're going to put in there the cuticle is a hard protein, okay, compared with a soft cortex. Remember the cortex is in the interside of it, all right? So usually when you're doing what's known as chemical changes and physical changes, right? Your physical change is going to be that cuticle has been changed, right? I can curl it, make it straight, make it curly, depending on what I'm doing with that hair, right? Okay, but when I do a chemical, I'm going into that cortex and I'm rearranging it, okay? I could be giving it a perm, a relaxer, a bleach, a color, right? Those are all your chemical changes. And that alters in that cortex, okay? So the cuticle is changed when we're doing physical changes, but the cortex is changed when we're doing chemical changes, okay? All right, it has the natural hair color, right? And you have 4 of them. So the first one, you're going to put down genes, okay, like your parents. It determines the number of melanocytes that you have, okay? That's spelled Melanocytes. So the genes determine the number of melanocytes. All right, number 2 is melanin, okay? And this is produced by the melanocytes. Okay, just write melanin produced by melanocytes, the same word. Okay, number 3 is melanocytes, and they form bundles called melanosomes. So melanocytes form bundles called melanosomes, and that's spelled Melanosomes. Okay, And number 4 is going to be melanosomes, okay? And this is size, type, and distribution determined into the natural hair color, okay? So it's melanosomes, and its size, type, and distribution determine the natural hair color. Everybody in there. Did everyone get that one? Okay. And it goes down to albinism, right? That's the next one on there, all right? And this is a total lack of pigmentation in the hair and skin. A total lack of pigmentation in the hair and skin. You usually have like white hair, blue eyes, because there's no pigment in there, okay, for them to get colored. They're the ones that will burn all the time because they won't tan at all. There's nothing in there to make them tan. Okay, so they have to be very protective in the sun. I don't know, did you guys, this is probably a movie that was way before your time, but it was called Powder. It was about a little boy that was, yeah, okay, that it was, his mother kept him in the basement. She didn't understand what, you know, albinism was, but she knew that her son was very pale and he couldn't tolerate sunlight. So for years and years, he was kept in the basement. And I guess when she died, the officers found him down there and didn't know what to do with him because they thought he was a freak, but he really wasn't. He just didn't have anything to protect him from the ultraviolet light. So you have to be very careful. And it can come in just not the entire head. I had a student once that had just a patch of it right here. And I remember telling her one day, I went, gosh, you never have to touch with that. You've always got it on point. She said, that's because it's a spot that I can't color. I go, are you serious? She goes, yep, I'm bored with it. It's just this one spot of albinism. So it was, you know, back then, everyone was wearing that one little piece of streak in the front. She goes, now it's not so popular. But back then it was. All right. Moving on to 7.2, okay, hair care, right? All right, it says hair evaluation, all right? These next 4 things are gonna be just as important as the 3 layers of hair, okay? We need to know what texture, density, porosity, and elasticity are, and you should have that memorized, okay? I'm not kidding. Those are the 4 things, because every time you do a chemical, you're gonna be checking for those 4 things, okay? It'll determine what solutions you'll use or what colors you'll use and what you're going to be doing to the hair next. So let's start off with texture. Under the types, you're going to put fine hair for number 1. And its characteristic, it should feel like silk. Okay? Fine hair should feel like silk. And we're all talking about virgin hair, okay? We're not talking about hair that's been processed in some form. Okay, number 2 would be medium texture. Okay, and this will feel like cotton. Okay, that's what you're going to put under the characteristic. It feels like cotton. Okay, and third one would be coarse hair, and this will feel like wool. Okay, so you have silk, cotton, and wool in your fine, medium, and coarse. Okay, then you move into density. Okay. And density basically means the number of hair follicles per square inch, right? Okay, so number 1, you're going to put thick or heavy, and it will mean more active follicles. So that's what I want you to write in there, okay? Number 1 is thick or heavy, and it means they have more active follicles. Okay, because if there was a lot of hair, you've heard people say, oh, I have a lot of hair, but it's really fine, okay? And they're talking about the density of that hair, okay? All right, number 2, you're gonna put thin or light. Nothing you're gonna add to it, just thin and light. And then the third one's gonna be medium. It's pretty much medium and medium again, okay? They're talking about medium active hair follicles. So if you need to, put to the side where it says density, the number of hair follicles per square inch. That's what your density means. All right, then you're going to move into porosity. Porosity means how well the hair absorbs a moisture, right? So number one, you're going to put in there resistance. And this is going to mean it's going to have poor quality. It's not going to absorb that moisture at all. So I want you to write resistant and then in brackets put poor. And that absorbs the least amount of moisture. So what type of hair do you think that would probably be? Gray hair, where's real resistant, right? Even Asian hair, which was strong, okay? Not necessarily bad, it's just resistant, it's real healthy, right? But gray hair is real resistant and it's real tough to get through, okay? All right, number two would be average. And this means it has the normal ability to absorb moisture, okay? Two is average, and it's the normal ability to absorb moisture. Okay, and three is going to be extreme. This one's not in good condition at all. So the way I remembered the difference between extreme and resistant was this. It's extremely bad. That's how I remember it, extremely bad. Resistance, just tough hair, I can't get through it. But extremely bad hair means that it's not in good condition and it'll absorb the most, which is not a good thing. Okay, anybody that's had over-processed hair, okay, and then shampooed it and tried to dry their hair, and it takes forever to dry my hair because it's got so much water, it just holds a lot of moisture. It is overly processed. So on number three, it's going to be extreme, not good at all. Okay, elasticity, all right? This is the hair's ability to stretch and return to normal without breaking. So when we're checking the elasticity of someone's hair, we're gonna kind of tug on it a little bit, not pull it till it breaks, but you're gonna pull and see if it does have a little bit where it bounces back and it's not snapping, okay? Somebody that has over-processed hair would feel like wet cotton, it'll feel like it's just mush, okay? But if it's in good shape, it will actually stretch and return back to its normal shape. In fact, we're going to do a little test. You're each going to do it on yourself, except for probably Anthony. Max, can I see your head for just a second? I want to see something. Can you show me your head? Oh yeah, you have hair. Okay. Anthony, you're just too short to do this little exercise. All right, what we're going to be doing is testing the structural strength of our own hair, okay? So let's fill it in first, and then I'll walk you through the steps I want you to do, okay? So under the test for structural strength, number one, you're going to remove a strand of hair. That's what I want you to write first, okay? We're going to remove a strand of hair. And we're going to do this. Okay. Number two, you're going to hold that hair between your thumb and your forefinger. Okay. Hold that hair between your thumb and forefinger and ribbon it, okay? Anybody ever take scissors and try to stretch a ribbon, right? And it gets real curly? Well, what I'm gonna have you doing today is you're gonna take that one hair and go between your two fingernails and you're gonna pull it like this and it'll get curly. That's what we're gonna end up doing. So that's what it means by ribbon. So hold between your thumb and forefinger and ribbon. And then number three, you're gonna pull it taut for 10 seconds and let it go. You're like, no way am I going to be able to do that much hair. So pull the hair taut for 10 seconds and release. Okay, so now I want you to take one hair out of your head, and I do want you to pull one out. I know it sounds horrible. Pull one strand out, okay? All right, and you're going to take that one hair between your fingernail and your thumb, and you're going to go the length of that hair like this, okay? You got to go really close to it tightly, and it'll start to curl really quickly, okay? If you don't get it to curl real quickly, then you didn't do it correctly, so do it again. You're going to take that one hair in between your fingernails, okay? Your two little fingernails, and you're going to go like this, and it'll get real curly.
Love it.
Just because you have no hair.
I'm watching all you guys pull all this strand.
If it didn't work, grab another hair. No. I'm just kidding. That's so mean. I just want you to do one hair. It will work, okay? And then if it gets really curly, that's perfect, okay? Because it might get really, really curly. You're like, where did it go? Okay. All right, now that you've got it curly, you're gonna pull it taut, like pull it tight, and then hold it there for 10 seconds and then release it. Once you release it, you still should have some curl. It just won't be as curly as it was when we ribboned it, okay? And what you're looking at is to see the strength of your hair. Normal, good strength, good, healthy hair, okay? Will have a little bit of a curl in it, okay, and it didn't break. But if your hair breaks, so sorry, you have damaged hair. We pulled too tightly. Okay, but we normally have to go through this when we're trying to determine whether our client can actually take a process to it, a chemical, bleaching, coloring, relaxing, perming, any of those things, right? So you're testing to make sure that the hair is strong enough to be able to take the next chemical we're going to apply to it. Okay, did anybody get it curly? Yeah, good, then you did it correctly. Yeah, it's right here. Good one, Jocelyn. Like, here. How about you, Jocelyn? Jocelyn, you're like holding it back up there. Did it actually curl? Yeah, good. How about you, Abby? Yeah. Okay. Athena, did you do our little exercise? Athena.
Yeah, sorry, hold on, give me a second.
Shakur, I don't know, but it probably is a little too short for your hair too, right?
Yeah, my hair is about an inch short.
Okay, grab somebody in the house. No, I was just like, I need your head for an exercising class. I was like, no, don't do that. Okay, so basically that's what we're talking about when we're talking about the strength or the structural strength of the hair. Okay, does everyone kind of understand that now? Okay, so you do need to know when we do a chemical, there's a consultation that you do when you fill out with your client, okay? And you're checking the texture of her hair, okay? You're gonna check the density of her hair. You're gonna check the porosity of it, and you're also gonna check the elasticity of it, okay? And if any of those are compromised beyond repair, we're not gonna be doing a chemical treatment on them until we build up that protein back into that hair, make it healthy enough to take another chemical, okay? Because let me tell you, if you don't do that, then it's just going to fall out, literally. And I've told you what happened to me, okay? My poor lady decided that she didn't want to tell me she had color in her hair, which was, box color. So when I put the bleach on and pulled that frosting cap off her head, everything that I pulled to the cap went down the drain. All that hair that was bleached, when I pulled off the cap, it just fell off into the sink. And I'm like, and I'm looking at my teacher, what happened? And he goes, I told you she wasn't a real blonde. I'm like, oh my God. He goes, you should, and I'm going to tell you guys this too. You should be able to tell the difference by feeling somebody's hair to know that something's on that. She's had some type of treatment to that hair, meaning chemical wise. I'm not asking you to tell me what color she used on it or what bleach or, what perm, relax, or whatever's on there. You know the difference between virgin hair and hair that has some type of chemical on it. Okay. And he said, he used to tell me that all the time. He goes, I could blindfold every one of you and you should be able to feel the difference. Because we were talking about that just beforehand, right? About what it feels like, right? The texture, you either have, the hair feels like silk, or it feels like cotton, or it feels like wool, okay? But those choices, virgin hair doesn't really feel so much like that, okay? But other textures do. Any questions so far? No? All right, I'm going to give you your 10-minute break. You guys are going to come back at 1:31, okay? I'll see you back here in 10 minutes, right?
Am I too late to join?
No, hon, you're fine. You don't have to pick up your kid today. Or you're not the one that comes and picks up her kid, huh? I can't remember. But no, you're fine. I just put you in for an hour though. I'm missing a couple people here. But I don't
Okay.
see. You're fine. Stay in the class though, because they just went on break. Okay. We'll be back here at 1:31. Okay, we're all back. Coming back anyways. Guess what? Hey, you can put your little notes away. Because we're gonna go through review again, just so that you're ready to take your test tomorrow. Okay, you can pull out your little notes from yesterday. Okay. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through the test questions again for the next 45 minutes, just so that you guys are prepared to take your test tomorrow.
So we're done with 7.2.
For today, yeah. Okay,
Okay.
because I remember telling you I would go through it one more time, you know, so that you will be prepared to take your test tomorrow.
Okay.
You guys all feel comfortable already with your test or no?
I'm fine.
You're fine. I know you're always fine. I don't have to worry about you. You're like way ahead of me. That's a good thing, Anthony. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing. Okay. So let me see. I'm gonna have to try and go through this. You guys all back? Victoria, are you back yet?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, and turn your camera on for me, all right?
Okay, I'm just driving, so that's the only thing.
Okay, I'm gonna go through and take roll here, all right? So I've got Jocelyn, where are you? There you are, okay. Susanna, okay, Anthony, Venetia, Adriana, okay, Athena, Victoria.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, Victoria R, Abby, Shakur, Max, and Jasmine H. Anyone that I didn't call out? We're all called? Good. Okay, so here we go. You can bring out your notes from yesterday if you want to, okay? So the first question gets to go out to Victoria. You ready for this one? This one's for Victoria D.
Oh yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here's your question. Which of the following terms refers to all money owed? Okay, I'm not going to give options unless you ask for options, okay?
Yeah, I need the options.
Okay, you have financial status, net worth, liabilities, or assets.
Could you repeat the question one more time?
Which of the following refers to all money owed?
And then could you repeat the options one more time? Sorry.
Financial status, net worth, liabilities, or assets.
Financial status.
Actually, this one's going to be liabilities. Okay,
Oh, okay.
that's all right. All right, Jocelyn, this one's for you. You ready? Okay, which of the following ways can a salon professional use to develop a successful relationship with a client? Do you need options? Probably,
Yes,
huh?
please.
Okay, because there's a lot of them. All right, decide for your client which look or design is best. Cancel pre-bookings on your client often. Avoid offering the client any additional services, or determine the client's needs.
Determine the client's needs.
Correct. Okay, Susanna, this one's for you. The government agency that would audit your business record keeping is known as. Do you want options?
The IRS.
Oh, yes, good. Okay, good. All right.
No,
No, you're right. All right, Anthony, this one's for you. The salon owner is responsible for collecting and paying the sales tax. How often?
It's monthly or quarterly.
Correct. Okay. Venetia, this one's for you. One of the most effective techniques in building a clientele is to, do you want me to read your options?
Please.
All right. You have point out the weaknesses of other designers to the client, promote services that aren't available in your salon, give out business cards to your potential clients.
Give out
All right.
business.
Yeah, there, give out business cards is correct. Could you imagine pointing out the weaknesses? Oh, that person's so stupid. Remember what I said about that? You don't ever want to talk badly about your coworkers, because I would be thinking, if I was sitting in that chair listening to this one, if you're so good and everyone else is so dumb, why are you still working with these people? Right? Isn't that what you would be thinking? They don't have the sense to get up and leave. So why would you be doing that? You always want your clients to know that everyone gets along and the place is always busy, because they always want to go to a place that's busy too. They know they're going to the it place. Okay. All right, Adriana. There you are. Okay, this is for you. The tax based on the profits or earnings of a business is known as. You need options. Okay, you have operating tax, income tax, payroll tax, or sales tax.
Income tax?
Income tax is correct. Good. Athena. Where'd you go? Are you still with me, hon?
I think she's getting kicked out.
Oh, okay. We'll wait for her to come back in the next time. Okay. So, Athena, Victoria R. This one's for you. Okay. What amount of commission will a salon owner usually pay an employee for the retail sales of home care products? Do you need options?
I believe it's 8 to 15%.
You're right. 8 to 15%. Good. Okay, Abby. I just want to make sure you're awake. He's like, yeah, I'm here. Okay, here's your question. The designer's name, the scheduled service, the client's name, date, and client's phone number should all be included on what?
Can I have the options?
The I-9 form, the appointment book, the state income tax form, or the federal income tax form?
At the appointment book?
Yes, the appointment book. Okay, Shakur, are you back? I don't see him either. Don't see him. Okay, I got two of them out after this. Okay. And all right. So then I have Max. Did you come back?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, here's your question. All right. Which of the following is vital in order to allow close management of products purchased for retailing in the salon? Do you need options?
Yes, please.
Okay, the receptionist, the appointment book, the inventory control system, or the employee compensation?
Could you repeat the question and options again, please? My
Right.
computer.
Which of the following is vital in order to allow close management of products purchased for retailing in the salon? Is it the receptionist, the appointment book, the inventory control system, or the employee compensation?
The third one?
Yes, the inventory control. Okay. Okay, and Erica didn't show up either. Okay, back to you, Victoria D. Are you still there? You still with me, hon? Yeah, I see movement on the camera. You ready to take a question, Victoria? Victoria D. Okay, I'll come back to you. Okay, I'm looking. I think I missed one. Jasmine H. Missed you. Okay, this one's for you. All right. Compliance with all local, state, province, and federal rules and regulations and laws is the responsibility of. You want options?
Yes, please.
You have designers, the salon owner, the local authorities, or former building owner.
Guessing the local authorities.
That one's going to be the salon owner, because local authorities would be like the police. So yeah, you don't have to worry about that part. Okay. Victoria D, did you come back yet?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, here's your question. An example of a liability on your financial statement would be last week's income, restaurant receipts, money you owe on a credit card, or any earned tips.
I want to say the third one.
Yes, money you owe on a credit card. Good. Okay, Jocelyn, this one's for you. All of the following items should be important requirements in the process of salon planning, except you have location, market need, the cost of necessary improvements, or the distance to the Social Security office.
The distance to the Social Security office.
Okay, good. All right, Susanna, this one's back to you again. Okay, which of the following business type is owned by the shareholders and formed under legal guidelines? Is it a franchise? Oh, go ahead.
It's a corporation, right?
Good girl, yes. Everybody's like the one everybody messes up on. Yes, good job. Okay, Anthony, the next one's yours. Okay, making a future appointment with a client while he or she is still in the salon is an effective tool for building your clientele and is referred to as what?
Pre-booking.
Pre-booking, correct. All right, Benicia, this one's yours. Which type of insurance protects the salon owner from financial loss due to employees' negligence?
Malpractice.
Malpractice is good. Okay, Adriana. There you are. Okay, a business owned by one person is called?
Sole proprietorship.
Good, yes, you're correct. Okay, Athena. She didn't come back yet either again, huh? Okay.
She's in the waiting room. She's.
Oh, she is? Well, it's not showing up that she's in the waiting room. Why is it not coming in? That's weird. Tell her to hit like invite or something in there because I don't even see her on my screen. Is she trying to get in? Anthony, can she?
She just says that she's still waiting in the waiting room.
And I don't see her at all. And I just have that up. I don't have anything behind it. Okay. There we go. Tell her to try again because it's literally not coming up at all. I don't see her on my screen, and it normally will show me if somebody's waiting in the room. There she is. Okay, thank you. Got her. Okay. There you go. They kept saying you were in the waiting room, but it didn't show up on mine. Okay. Athena. She's like, okay. I said, they kept telling me you were in the waiting room, but it didn't show up on my screen yet. So I had to wait until you came in.
Oh,
right.
yeah. I don't know why it keeps like kicking me out of class and then I can barely hear you half the time.
No, I kept trying to call you, but it just didn't show me. He kept saying she's in the waiting room. I go, but it's not showing on mine because it'll tell me if somebody's waiting in there, but you didn't even show up until you finally popped up. Weird. Weird how this program works sometimes. I sorry.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here's your question though. Okay.
Oh, yay.
Yay. In many cases, the first person to greet a client is going to be. Do you
Can you
need
give
the
me
options?
Yeah, give me the options.
Okay.
Sorry.
The owner, the designer, the manager, or the receptionist?
The receptionist.
Okay. All right. Victoria R., this one's for you. Okay, renting or leasing a workstation from a building owner would represent which of the following situations? Is it a partnership, a corporation, a sole proprietorship, or the independent contractor?
That's an independent contractor.
Yes, that's it. That's the other one everyone used to get mixed up on, huh? Because it's saying from a building owner. Basically, you're leasing from them, you know what I mean? Okay. Who's next? Abby, this one's yours. Okay, keeping you on your toes. Which form of advertising involves sending postcards or flyers to your potential clients? or customers? Is it known as involvement in community affairs, word of mouth advertising, TV and radio advertising, or direct mail advertising?
Is that word of mouth?
This one's going to be the direct mail. When you're sending postcards and flyers out, remember telling you what happens sometimes is you buy a list of names. I know you guys know this. When you sign up for like Facebook or you sign up for Instagram and stuff like that, it automatically, your information goes to like another program, right? Like when you're on Facebook, it went to Instagram, right? So what happens is people will buy those lists of people with their names on it, okay? And when you get that list, then you would send out postcards or flyers to like a mass people, okay? Just so that you can get their business. Okay, Shakur, he didn't come back again either. All right, Max, I know you're out there. Max, there you are. I see
Sorry,
that
I'm
red
here,
button.
yeah.
Okay, to be granted future loans, it's important to pay your loans on time and avoid what? You have taxes, default, insurance, or compensation.
The third one?
It's the default. Okay, we all want to make sure we pay our taxes and stuff on time, but the default basically means that you decided not to pay on your bill, okay, or your loan when you default. So you don't want to get a default put on there. You know, like when you guys took out loans to come to school, right? And they told you have to pay part of that loan back after 6 months after graduating, right? Okay, and they tell you if you don't pay it back, then you're going to be in default. I'm going to give you a little hint of these companies that you've got these loans with. All right, when you do the exit interview with us, it kind of tells you when your loan is due, okay, on that little exit. You get on the computer and it asks you questions, and then it tells you, okay, your loan's going to be due on the 3rd of the month. Okay, just an example. Yours is due on the 3rd. I tell my girls, make sure you make that payment on that 3rd of the month, because let me tell you, they're not going to send out notification that you're behind until 2 months, and then you are in default. Okay, that's why they give you that exit interview so that you know what date to send your payments in. Regardless, don't wait for like a payment book or notification that, you know, your payment's coming up again. That's what you're actually doing when you do that exit interview from the school. It gives you a date, and I tell them, make sure that payment is due and paid before that date. Okay, you guys? Because they will not send you notification until you're already 2 months in the rear. That's already messed up your credit. So you want to make sure, okay? So since we're talking about defaults, I just want to let you guys know that. All right. Okay. Who's not in here? Jasmine. You ready? This one's for you. Which method is considered to be the most effective way of building your clientele? Do you need options?
Yeah, the options, please.
Okay. You have referrals, pre-booking, word of mouth advertising, or providing unexceptional service.
Word of mouth.
Yes, word of mouth is exactly right. Okay, just an FYI, it's like word of mouth is going to be your business coming through. Client, you see someone else's hair, you're like, oh my God, where did you get your hair done? Right? So it's basically, it's word of mouth. All right, that's what they mean by word of mouth. All right, Jasmine, let's go to Victoria D again. Still with me? Did she leave? Where'd she go? Again. Is she waiting in the room? Can you see her? All right. All right. Jocelyn, this one's for you. Are you still with me? There you are. All right, here's your question. Which of the following is not a skill or ability a salon owner should possess to ensure success? Is it the ability to maintain a budget, the ability to set realistic business goals, having the salon employees handle all unusual or difficult client situations, or recognize skills and techniques and hire the staff accordingly?
The third one.
Yes. Wouldn't give somebody that didn't know what they were doing. The angry client. All right, Susanna, your turn again. Okay, what percentage of the total salon expenses generally represents compensation for the salon owner and its employees? Is it 10%?
50%?
Oh, it's 50%? Yep, you're right.
Okay.
Okay, Anthony, this next one's for you. Okay, which of the following interview questions is illegal for an employee to ask for the purpose of discrimination?
You cannot ask them their birthday.
Yes. Good. Okay, Venetia, this one's for you. Still with, there you are. Okay. All payments received from your clients for services performed and home care products purchased is known as? Is it
Income?
tax? Yes, income is right. Good. Okay, Adriana, this one's for you. What is generally considered the best form of advertising?
Word of mouth.
Good. They cover that question a couple of times in this chapter, right? Athena,
Yeah.
there we go. Your question is this, okay? What is the term given for selling products for client home care? Did you hear what I said? Should I repeat that?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Okay.
heard you.
Okay, so your options are warehousing, scheduling, networking, or retailing.
Retailing.
Correct. Okay, Victoria R. This one's for you. Location is the most important factor in, and is it choosing a lawyer, choosing a salon, choosing a distributor, or opening a salon business?
Opening a salon business?
Yes. Okay, Abby, this next one's for you. Which of these descriptions is not a guideline to be used when you're creating a resume? Okay. List awards and special recognition. Show prior employment. You already know the answer?
Is it the 8 pages?
8 pages, yes. I just happened to be on this chapter and on my estheticians today, and I was like, okay, you guys are going to be doing a resume today, and I don't want 8 pages. And they'll start laughing. They're like, really? And I go, yeah, it's kind of one of the questions on the Cosmo test. Like, they don't want 8 pages of info. Could you imagine if you were actually hiring people and they gave you 8 pages? What would you do with it, literally? File. My boss used to say file this, and his filing meant the trash. I was like, are you serious? He goes, yes, file it. I'm like, okay. All right. You ready for your question? Let's see. Jasmine H. Okay, you ready? Which of the following items is reported to the IRS as employee income? Okay. Is it change given to the client following payment, operating expenses paid by the salon, money paid to vendors for products, or tips received by the employee?
The second one?
It's going to be the tips that are received by the employee. Okay, so even though you guys get paid like a salary, let's say you're getting an hourly wage, and even though you're going to get an hourly push commission, okay, already your boss will usually have your taxes taken out of it, okay? Tips, because he's not going to know exactly how much money you're getting from your tips, right? Are you going to be telling him, oh, my last client gave me $5, and my last client before that only gave me $3? He's not going to be able to keep track of all of that. So it's going to be up to you to keep track of your tips. And it sounds funny, but everybody goes, oh, well, the IRS isn't going to come after me. Let me tell you how the IRS works for tips, okay? Every year they choose like an industry that they go after, okay? And hairdressers are in the same industry as like bartenders, okay? Taxi drivers, Uber drivers, things, people that get tips, right? So they'll actually target that agency or that general group. And then they'll want 15 to 20% tax paid on what you actually earned. So they figure, depending on how much money you actually made through the year, they'll take 15 to 20% of that income and then tax you again on that, okay, as your tip money. So don't think that you shouldn't be putting your tips down. The only way you're going to get out of not having to pay a tax on your tips is if your business has a sign in front of it that says, we do not accept tips. It's the only way, okay? And since everyone usually gets tips, you know, they'll just take a percentage of it if you don't claim it, okay? So make sure you do. I would put away a little bit of money on a quarterly basis and turn it in instead of having to take a big, you know what I'm saying? So take a percentage of what you make in your tips or keep a record of it, okay? And then take that percentage and you'll be taxed on that percentage of the amount that you collected, okay? They figure most people will get like $2 or $3 or something like that, okay? Depending on your location. Some people will pay $5 or $10, okay? But they'll take what you make in the total year and decide, okay, you made a lot of money, so you must have made a lot of tips. You know, that's how they kind of look at it. So I'm just giving you a heads up. You don't want to be caught. I thought, oh, they'll never get me, okay? And sure enough, one year I got nailed on it. I was like, oh my God, all these years and I've never really claimed it. And then I learned my lesson. So like I said, they go after like a certain, every year they choose a category that they go after, okay, that do collect these types of tips. And we just happen to be in that one little industry with all kinds of people. All right. I have a couple of questions here that are not on your test, and I just want to ask if you know the answer of it, okay? If someone knows the answer, they can speak up. Okay. The 4 types of business ownership are, you want to try?
They are sole proprietary,
Partnership, corporation, franchise.
Yeah.
Okay, one more. Sole
Sole
proprietor.
Partnership, corporation, and
Partnership.
franchise.
Okay, corporation and franchise. There you go. Yeah, that's all. Okay. An employee that receives income based on a percentage of the dollar income of total clients service is being paid on what type of a structure?
Commission?
Plus?
salary.
It's like a salary plus commission. Yeah, that's what they're talking about. You're based on the percentage of the dollar amount, right? So basically, if you were getting, let's just say $10 an hour and you work 40 hours a week, right? Okay, so that's $400, right? Give or take, without taxes, okay? So if you pulled in, I would say $1,000 in service dollars for the week, okay? That would be over the $400, right? So at that point, anything over that would be that $600, right? Over the 400, from the 1,000, right? Your boss would give you a percentage of that 600 in your commission. Does that make sense to you guys, how that works? You have to make more than what your dollar amount would have been hourly, right? Anything over that, okay, would be a percentage of that total. So if you made $1,000, say in service dollars, you minus the 400 that you would have normally got hourly, correct? Which leaves $600. So he will give you a percentage of that 600. So let's say he gives you 50% more. So you're looking at another 300. Is that right? You see how that works? Everyone understand that? Okay. All right, here's your next question. Income minus expenses equals?
Income minus expenses.
Profit?
Yes, that's correct. Income minus expenses, yes. All right, a salon owner must pay for state sales tax before collecting tax on products and services sold. So my question is going to be this: do I need a license to charge sales tax to customers?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Okay. I have to have a sales tax license, like a number that I can actually use. You can't charge sales tax unless you have that sales tax number. Okay. So if you have products that clients are buying and then you don't have that sales tax, you can't charge sales tax to it. All right. Let me see. The item that offers an employee a brief summary of who you are and what qualities you would bring to the salon is called what?
A cover letter?
Pretty much, yes. Okay. When a client recommends a salon professional to his or her friends, this increases the client base. This type of recommendation is known as a what?
What
Referral?
Okay, wait a minute. I heard referral was one. What was the other name? What'd you say,
Word of
Manisha? Word of mouth. Actually, when you're letting someone else know about it, it's a referral. Okay. When I let someone else, oh, go and see this person, you're referring that person to another person. Okay. Word of mouth is kind of like what we use in a general term for advertising to bring our clientele in. Okay. All right. The money in your checking and savings account, your IRAs, your stocks and bonds are all considered to be your total what?
Assets?
Assets. Good. Oh, you're getting all of these ones that are just fill in the blank. I'm so excited. Makes me feel good. Okay, hold on. I got more questions for you. Since we covered all of the questions that are on the test and everybody knows all of those answers, let's just go through a couple more in the back. Okay. Here we go. These aren't on the test, okay? They're just questions you should know. Okay, an efficient working space for each salon professional is how many square feet?
Oh, it's 80 to 120.
It's 120 to 150.
Damn it.
You know what? You know what I tell my girls, because theirs is 152, and I go, they look in those treatment rooms back there where they do their facials, right? And going, oh, I want a room this big. And I go, no, you don't. You want something smaller because you want to be able to pull whatever you need while you're sitting down. If you have to get up and move stuff towards you, there's wasted space in between, right? Same thing for you. If you have to move things around to get to it while you're working, it's wasted space. Another way to look at it is if you have a kitchen remodel, right? They always want to put the refrigerator and the stove within a certain so many feet with the sink because you want to take the less steps to do whatever work you have to do. Does that make sense? So you don't need a lot of room to do your work. Okay, you just don't want to be crowded. All right, here's the next question. What type of rental contract has a set dollar amount plus a percentage on the monthly income paid? Okay.
Hourly?
What type of, huh?
Hourly?
Okay. Okay, now listen to the question again. It says, what type of rental contract has a set dollar amount plus a percentage of the monthly income paid? So I'm going to give you options. Okay, you have yearly, monthly, fixed, or variable.
Fixed.
Yeah, fixed.
Is it variable?
Okay, but if it's asking for a percentage of a monthly quota, you're never going to be the same every month, right? So it would be variable. It'd be changing every month, right? If it's fixed, it would be, okay, your rent is $5,000 every month, no matter what. Okay, but what they're asking is if you have a rental contract that has a set amount, which is 5,000, and it says plus a percentage of what you make extra, like your profit, then it's a little bit more. It'll be changing every month. Does that make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
That's what they mean by variable. Okay, here's your next question. On the average, the largest expense in operating your salon would be what? And I said this earlier on. If you're an owner of a salon, the biggest chunk of change that comes out of that salon profit is going to go to one thing. Do you remember what I said it was?
Compensation?
All right, I'm gonna give you, huh?
Is it compensation?
It's, yeah, compensation to your employees. So it's basically salaries and compensation. Because it is, that's the biggest thing. You're not going to get anything over that. The other 50% is going to be paid out, I'm sure, in like supplies and stuff that you need in there. All right. Oh, okay. For each dollar a salon professional brings into the salon for services, it's an industry recommended goal for the salon professional to bring in what additional amount in sales of home care products. So there was a dollar amount that they had said that you needed to bring in. So your choices are $4, $3, $2, or $1?
$4.
Actually, it's going to be $1. It says for each dollar that the salon professional brings into the salon for services, the industry recommended goal for the salon professional to bring in additional amounts would be, in home care, it would be at $1. So for every dollar that she paid for her service, let's say she paid $35, okay, she should be purchasing at least $1, which is $35 in hair care products. Now, I know a lot of you, when you first get out, or even right now, you have in your head that you don't want to be retailing. You're like, I'm not a salesperson, because I was right where you were at. Okay, I seriously was. But you're not completing your service if you're not showing them what they should be using on their own hair. Because let me tell you, every time they come in, they're like, I wish you would go home with me because I can never make my hair look the way you do. Okay. And you're like, that's because you're not using the same products that I'm using. Okay, because I can show you how to do it, but you're going to have the same products. Okay, your Suave is not going to give you the same results. Okay, so they always say that if you ask 5 people, 3 people literally will buy something. Okay, doesn't matter what it is. Start them off with a hairspray, start them off with a styling product. Okay, but they will start to purchase products from you. And when you show them how much they can save on this, because most people think, well, I'm only going to get 12 ounces of your shampoo and I can buy like a 32 ounce at the grocery store for less money. And then I said to them, okay, how much product do you have to pour in your hand to shampoo one time? Because I can tell you it only takes like a pea size, the size of a nickel, okay, at the most, to give you that same thing that you would have had if you poured all of that into your hand, okay? Seriously, and it's in better shape for your hair because it's using something to cleanse the hair without stripping of its natural oils. Okay, so her other shampoos that she's buying on the grocery store marketplace or wherever she's getting it at usually are too alkaline for their hair, okay, too drying. And I love it when I hear people say, I don't like to use a conditioner because it makes my hair greasy. So then I go, so how do you apply your conditioner? And they go like this. Like I do my shampoo. And I said, you know, you don't need to put it on your scalp, right? Because you have natural oils on your scalp. And they're like, oh, really? And I said, and you need to rinse it as well as you would if you were rinsing a shampoo. Don't leave it in your hair. It's not going to go away. Your hair will absorb what it's supposed to, and the rest of it, you can remove it. But you are going to be the person that trains your client, okay, to use those products, showing her how much shampoo she's going to have to use when she's buying professional products, and her conditioner she's going to be using way less, and her hair is going to be in better condition. Okay, it really is, because I can bring in shampoo and conditioner for you guys to try. We'll do one side of your head where we're using Suave, and the other side we'll use maybe our Joico product. And tell me if you can't tell the difference in your hair. Any of you tried professional products after you joined school and noticed that there's a difference in the way your hair behaves, right? So one of the things that we talked about earlier today was the behavior of the hair, right? Products and appliances. Products mean shampoos, conditioners, styling products. Okay, so your hair will behave a certain way if you're using professional products. Okay, so we have 15 minutes left. All right. Here's your next one. Total assets again, minus total liabilities is called
Net worth.
Net worth. There we go. Okay. Okay. Impulse buying accounts for about what percentage of all purchases? You have 10 to 20%, 45 to 65%, 70 to 80%, or 85 to 95%. Impulse buying.
Yeah, I would think that's a high one. High number.
45 to 65%. So if we know that that's the impulse buyer, does it not bring to your attention to offer products to your clients? Because you might catch her on an impulse day, right? And if you don't offer it to her, she's going to go someplace else. She might walk right across the hall and buy it in a beauty supply. Okay, and let me tell you, the only ones they could actually purchase products is like Sally's, and that's always same as, it's never the actual product, right? They're not gonna have that Joico product. They're gonna say same as Joico product, but not Joico product, okay? And it sounds kind of funny, but I worked in the mall and across the hall was a beauty supply. Okay, and when I didn't offer it to my client, they walked right across the hall and they're like, I'm gonna go get some shampoo. And I'm like, I could have sold a shampoo. I had it right here, but I just didn't offer it to her. So not only did I not service the client, she go figure. So, you know, if nothing else, just offer it to them. All you have to do is take something off the shelf and say, hey, this is what I used on your Heredity, and leave it up on the counter. And she is gonna say yes or no after that. But you gotta offer it to her, okay? Because you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't. That's money that's gonna just go down the drain someplace else. Somebody else is gonna get your money. Up to you. All right, here's your next question. Which buyer is open-minded and will take a chance on a new product without hesitation?
Oh, shoot.
So you have,
There's
you have the bargain, the emotional, the logical, or the ready buyer.
it's what was the question?
Okay, which buyer is open-minded and will take a chance on a new product without hesitation?
The ready buyer.
Yes, the ready buyer. Okay, which buyer type is going to be more interested in the price than the quality?
The bargain.
Okay, and then which buyer is going to make their purchases based more on personal reasons than facts?
The emotional.
Yes, she's going to go, oh, I want to smell this, I want to feel it. Oh yeah, I like that smell. That's gonna, oh yeah. I used to sit there and laugh when people would buy things that had fruity smells to it, and I'm going, you really want to smell like a fruit salad? Okay, because a lot of times those products usually weren't very good for them. They go, I like to use this because it smells very nice. One was like herbal essence. Have you ever heard of that product? People like to have that because it smelled like kind of fruity, but herbal. I don't know. I just thought, okay. And so then I would keep like litmus paper at my station, and then I would dip it in different types of shampoos and show them what was kind of harsh. Because I go, bring in the stuff that you're using at home. Let's find out what kind of shampoo you're using. And so when they would do that, I could actually show them how harsh their ingredients were in their shampoos. It's kind of fun because it actually wakes them up too. The only people you're going to get that'll bring something in is somebody that's really interested in their hair. Trust me. Okay, and then they're the people that you're going to have to sell to. Okay. All right. A couple more questions here. Which of the following professionals is most likely able to assist a salon owner with their inventory sales? Okay, is it going to be your lawyer, your sales consultant, your insurance agent, or your accountant?
Your sales consultant.
Okay. It would be unwise to install a salon without a rental agreement of less than how many years? You have 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, or 15. Yeah, 5 years. Okay. We're going to talk about insurance. In order to protect the employee, states require that salons carry this type of insurance. Anybody remember what that one was? And it's mandatory. The state requires it.
Malpractice?
Huh?
Workers' comp.
It's workers' comp.
Yeah.
Yeah, workers' comp. Okay, which type of tax dictates that for every dollar an employee pays, the salon owner needs to also pay the same amount to the government?
Income?
This one's Social Security. For every dollar that you pay into Social Security, your employer has to put $1 into. Isn't that crazy? Like taxes and taxes and taxes. Okay, wait a minute. Which of the following is or are required by law? Is it parking facilities, record keeping, variable rent, or retailing salon products? It's required by law.
Record keeping?
Yes. Good. All right, and let me see here. A lawyer can help ensure that the salon owner is in compliance with all of the following areas except, and these are your choices: tax responsibilities, local, state, and federal codes, signing your rental agreements, or inventory needs.
Inventory needs?
Yes, good. Okay. And then where am I going to go with this? All right, when you're counting back change to a client, it's recommended, how do you give change back to a client? We start with,
The smaller.
anybody remember? The smallest denomination first. And how do you hold your register? Okay, so like if my register was on my left side, how would my money be in my register? Okay, there's a wall right here, okay? And this is where I'm exposed to the client on my left side. So my drawer should have my change smaller first, larger. Right. And then if it was on the opposite side, it would have been the same way, because you only want the customer to be able to reach the smaller bills first, not the larger ones. Okay. And you kind of always want to put your checks or larger bills, more than 20s, usually underneath the drawer, right? Who has had actual jobs here before that had to count change back to people? Okay, so you know how you have to count that change back usually, right? My boss always used to make me put the money right on top of that little ledge on the register so that I was able to count it back, so that in case somebody said, no, I gave you a 20. No, sir, you gave me a 10, it's right here. You know, because people do like to mess with you on change. Okay. All right, I think you've got most of this, right? Anybody have any questions on this chapter? No? So where do you see yourself going when you first get out of school? Do you want to rent a booth? Do you want to work in a salon for somebody else just to get the feel of things? What's your first ideas?
Probably work for somebody else and get the feel of things, build your speed, build your clientele. That would be my thing. And hopefully it's a place where you can do that or rent a station. That way, after a couple of years, you can rent a station in that same place.
I was fortunate, like I said, enough to work as a receptionist when I first, because I didn't have my license for the first 6 months. But because I did the closing every night and I watched my boss do like payroll and things like that, if you can actually get underneath somebody that will actually show you how to do that and how, you know, to run this business, they'll be immensely, that opportunity is, you can't even pay for that kind of opportunity. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they will not only build up your clientele, but actually show you how to run a business. And you're going to take what you like from that and what you don't like. Everybody does. Okay. We all got bad habits, but some people, they have better habits than others, you know, showing you how to do your record keeping, how to make sure that everything's taken care of. Okay. Making sure that you filed all your licenses on time, you know, because your license is going to be due every 2 years from the year that you got your license. Okay. And they will send out a renewal usually about 3 months before it's due, your renewal. Okay. But it's only going to send it to the last recorded address of you. So if you never changed your address with them, don't expect it to come to your new address. All right. So you want to make sure that you update your license address. Okay. If you move. All right. Your license usually about $50 every 2 years. And if you are late, it goes up to $75, I think. All right. If there's no more questions, I'm going to let you guys go. No one has
I actually had a
questions?
quick question about the homework.
Uh-huh.
On the homework, it said that we do like our key terms, but they didn't send us the key terms because they sent us a picture like of the paper for this week.
Okay.
But it
so
says on
let me ask you this. On the website, does it have key terms broken down by chapters?
Yes.
I found them on Pivot Point.
Okay, I couldn't find them on there.
I just looked up
so where
chapter
did you
6.
go? Did you put in the search engine chapter 6 key terms?
I just put in chapter 6 and the key terms happened to come up and it was downloadable.
Yep.
That way I didn't show it myself, but yeah, it was a download.
Does that help, hun? You want to
I'm
try
gonna
it
look
really
this up
quick?
right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
See if it comes up.
It's okay.
Just
Anyone else have any questions? Okay, I want to see your grades tomorrow. You
Oh,
better be
I
good
found them.
grades.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
You could do
Yeah.
that
Let me
for
tell you-
every chapter.
Okay.
If you
I didn't even know we could do that.
If you go to the chapter itself
Mm-hmm.
and get the definition from the chapter, it's only one sentence. If you go to the back of the glossary, it's going to be 3 sentences for that word.
Mm-hmm.
I tell people, I go, I don't know why you go to the glossary, because then even after I tell you those 3 lines, I'm like giving you the definition. You're like, I didn't read that. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
in the actual chapter itself, it's 1 sentence for each word.
Okay.
A lot easier that way. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. I'm gonna let you guys
Mhm.
go. Okay, if there's no more questions.
Okay.
All right. Good luck on your test
Mhm.
tomorrow, you guys. Okay.
Thank
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.